What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation starts right now. Taking on at the lock. I'll have the first pitch. First pitch tonight, 7:10. Crunch time coming in around 6:10, 6:15. You got Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, two-time millionaire winner, as well as Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, leader of the Juggalo Nation. Speaking of two-time millionaire winners, it's Chop, myself and Ed Chopper. You may remember Chop from yesterday, returning champion as far as baseball, or earlier today, talk a little bit of basketball. The series kicks off again. Game 3 pivots to Indiana, OKC, Indiana. Wednesday night. I guess we're dark, right? No basketball, no hockey. We had the hockey last night, but I'm just glad they're not on the same nights. I guess the leagues did coordinate there. Chop, happy Tuesday, happy Television Tuesday. Get excited about that. Yeah. We can go ahead. Let's drop the first clue for the people.
Wow, already.
People that are early. If you're early, you get rewarded. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You might bank it. We might get a hole-in-one. The first clue for Television Tuesday. We'll scroll it in a second. Producer TJ behind the wheel. It is war. War is our first clue. What's up, Chop? How's Tuesday?
Yeah, it's all right, Dean. You know, it's all right. Hanging in there. Got a little baseball tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Heavy day of content between NBA and Major League Baseball. So yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm doing good. Got a vet appointment tomorrow. I'm a little worried because
no,
them vets, man. I mean, dog will be all right. He's not in that kind of condition. He's got plenty of time left, but they're just so damn expensive these days. I'm really worried, man. When they're going to start to do a bunch of tests, and I got a feeling it's going to get ugly in there because there's no control over these prices these days.
They take advantage of your emotions. What are you going to do? Like, you're going to let Scruffy go for an extra $100? Like, you're going to pay up, right? You're going to pay the extra $100, whatever it is, $200, $500, $1,000. And like, well, what do you tell the kids? You know, you just got to do it. You got to suck it up. You got to pay it. That's the deal. That's what you signed up for.
It's not. I mean, I wish it was $100 or $200. They really make you make a decision these days. Like, you have to really make a decision. Like,
what is the number? What's the number? They get right to that number, but they don't go over that edge. They're like, yeah, he's gonna pay it. He'll pay it.
Yeah, like, how much can we charge this guy, and he's actually gonna come through with it? Because they make you make a decision there, man. It's tough, but you know, not looking forward to that tomorrow, but looking forward to getting it out of the way. Otherwise, you know, let's crank it up, man. Let's get some. I like a little baseball on Tuesdays, full slates and everything. It sounds fun.
No Vlad for Toronto. Giants put Matt Chapman on the IL, so Chapman is out. I mentioned the Giants because they're in Coors Field. They have the biggest total on the board. They get the biggest leap in all of baseball when it comes to jumping out of San Fran into Coors. You know, basically the worst ballpark into the best ballpark. They're locked in for 9 against Palmquist, who doesn't look ready, and that bullpen, which is pretty shaky as well. There's some rough names for the Giants. You know, Dom Smith is in the lineup, left on left. You got Lee leading off left on left. Adames, Ramos, Flores, Encarnacion. The aforementioned Dom Smith, Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, Tyler Fitzgerald in the 9-hole. They still have a team total of about 6.5. I believe they're the only total above 6. Well, for sure above 6. And there's a couple teams that are hovering. They're hovering around 5. Arizona taking on Logan Evans has a team total around 5. The Yankees have a team total around 5, taking on Noah Cameron. I'm just not a believer. I'm curious. I don't buy it. Noah Cameron's been incredible this year. His 6 starts, whatever it is. He's basically every single game going 6 innings and not giving up a run. But the advanced stuff just says it's the flukiest thing we've ever seen. Taking on a Yankees team, of course, pretty tough. And if you look through the data as far as this year specifically, Chop, I was looking at the Savant stuff as far as ballparks, and Casey's been the worst ballpark as far as hitting home runs. So we don't love that. However, it's the hottest environment today. So that's worth noting. Chop, it is not Mad Men. That's not a movie, not a TV show I've seen. It's on the list.
Oh hell! If I'd known that, I wouldn't have guessed it.
I'll still put the things on there that I haven't seen. To be fair, I try not to make it super biased or make it super obvious that it must be something that I like, and people would guess that way.
So Dean, my park factor algorithm.
Oh, you got one of those too.
Yeah. Well, you've known this for a couple of weeks now, but I'm still perfecting it. Yeah, KC's very difficult to hit home runs, but it's the second most spacious outfield to Coors Field. So you do get a lot of singles and doubles because of it. So, but yeah, you can't hit. It's tough to hit home runs out of that park.
Pulling up Weather Edge, I want to give it a refresh and seeing if anything changed in the last 30 minutes or so. For what it's worth, not in the slate, but it is going to be hot in Baltimore. They're actually getting some pieces back in their lineup. So maybe Baltimore goes off on a slate that nobody cares about, or in some showdown or whatever is going on there. Let's see. Yankees in KC, 131 previous games, 84 is the temp. They lost the fire emoji. They had the fire emoji earlier, but still 84 is pretty hot. In those previous 131 games with similar temperature, we've seen homers spike at 11.1% bump, and runs get jumping up at 4%. Winds barely blowing out to center, left center at 3 miles per hour. Man, it's a weird slate, Chop. I'm really curious to get your take because I kind of know your take because I was looking at your expert survey stuff, and one of the key pieces, one of the key players, is Lance McCullers. He's every single start, he's been better. I mean, obviously he started in the negative essentially, but he's been getting better. We've seen so little of McCullers over the years, last 3-4 years, whatever it is, just dealing with arm injuries. He's got basically nothing as far as velocity, but he's got a spectacular curveball. That's always been his bread and butter, and he's taken on the White Sox. And as of right now, Chop, one of my stands is probably not playing McCullers in my main lineup. I don't feel, they'd also let him go, which is the other issue too. Like he's going 90 to 100 pitches. So it's not even that they're babying him at this point. I'm curious to get your take there because, we have Fried in that game in Kansas City. Kansas City against lefties, the lowest ISO in all of baseball collectively. And Fried doesn't give up home runs as is. And he's, now he's in Kansas City. I'm not going to say he's not going to give up a homer, like just definitively, but I don't think he gives a home run. I don't think he does. If you want to BABIP, I'm sure. He throws a lot of pitches per start, so I think I'm going to spend up to be different a little bit as far as pitcher. Last I saw, we can get a peek. Fried was 10%. He's gone up a little bit throughout the day. Seeing it now at 10.5% on DK. And then Cease has got some popularity, and I just don't really want to pick in the Dodgers. I don't really fully trust Cease. I guess that's adjusted a little bit too. That's down to 21%. Mackenzie Gore, the best pitcher on the slate. Best K rate by far, not even close. Great ballpark, but tough matchup because he's facing the Mets. McCullers chalk. That's where we're at. Did I say it was the White Sox? Did I bury the lead? That matters too, obviously. But I'm curious, Chop. That's kind of like my opening to the slate. It's San Fran and like 5 other teams that are kind of similar. And San Fran, again, not a great lineup. Maybe some pinch hit risk there with the lefty starting, like Dom Smith. I don't know if you're going to go that route. What is your screenshot? How you seeing this slate? 11 gamer.
Yeah, big picture, big overview. I think there's some suspect pitching and a lot of good hitting, solid hitting, and of course you got the big 7+ team total out there in Coors. So yeah,
it's dipped a little bit because Chapman not being on it.
How much? Oh yeah, Chapman's out. So is Yastrzemski. He's not in there. I thought he might make the lineup, but he's
gonna be in the game
later on. Yeah.
6.6 is our team total according to the lineups page.
Okay, that dropped a lot since this morning. That dropped over a half a point. So that's it's interesting, but still, a 6.6 is a massive team. And then you got all these other teams that I think are pretty good. And you've only got a couple of pitchers you've only got one pitcher that I really actually trust. That's Fried, but he's expensive. The other guys, there's question marks about all those other pitchers that are kind of chalky. So big overview. It would have been a great night for some GPPs and throw some darts at the wall because there's a lot can happen on this slate, but I'm sticking to my one lineup. I don't feel like playing around with some things that have worked lately, so I'm going with that. But this thing could go any which way, man. It's going to be very interesting.
Our guy Eric in chat said, "I just hear you say you trust Max Fried. like, why wouldn't you? Like, what about Fried? He's like one of the most trustworthy pitchers in baseball. I know it's Eric, so grain of salt, but like, come on. What if you don't trust Max Fried, who do you trust?
We'll get through the numbers, I guess, when we get there.
Not a grain of salt, a full like rock. Like it hasn't even been mined yet. It's just like a big old salt rock that's stuck to the ground.
Eric says he's on the Royals. Okay, well, good luck with that. Yeah, sure. I mean, I would bet against. Well, I think it's 9 of his 13 starts that he's not getting up a home run, Fried. And again, terrible ballpark for homers. The worst offense when it comes to ISO so far this season versus lefties. So, like, no power. All his ground balls. Again, I know it's hot, but yeah, I'm going to play some Fried. And I hope everybody else is afraid as well. And not necessarily a roster in Kansas City, but, you know, I think Fried's really, really good pitcher. The K rate's not amazing, but it's fine, right? 24% or so. He can go 7. You know, they'll keep him in there for a while, assuming the pitch count is in check. I want your McCullers take, Chop, because, you know, this guy was out of the league for like several years, and now all of a sudden he's the most popular pitcher on the slate. He's been good his last couple starts. How real is that? Are we buying it? You know, Lance, if you look at his overall numbers, it's weird because he had some horrific starts as well. So it's just kind of hard to kind of splice through them. 4.44 ERA. The XSER is lower, 3.49. The walks are too high at 10.5%. And this Chicago lineup, not good. But they're kind of patient. It's kind of a patient lineup. So, you know, you look at the top, 19.4%, Tauchman getting walks, Meredith 11.8%, Benintendi 9.7%, Vargas 10.3%, 12.6% as far as walks. A lot of guys willing to walk here in the Chicago lineup. I know there's not a ton of power. We think Teal's supposed to be pretty good. The rookie, we only have 9 at-bats there to work with. Vargas has been pretty good. I don't know if I'm just trying to, like, be different on just – sometimes you just, you know, just take the chalk and you eat it. But I'm just not wanting to play McCullers today. What is your official take?
Are we doing pitchers? Are we on the pitchers now?
Yeah. Unless you got anything else.
No. What's my – like – I get why he's going to be – well, he's going to be more highly owned tonight because of what I said a minute ago, which is there is a serious lack of options tonight for a 22 teams playing. Mm-hmm. Like after Fried.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's tough. And Gore, like you said, is very good, but my goodness, you can certainly poke holes in that matchup he's got, man. I guess a tough matchup. And after that, there's nothing. So that's why he's going to be chalk. Does he deserve to be that? Probably not at this point. Could he still get there? Yes. It's weird. You mentioned the walks have always been, I mean, since day one that he came into the league, walks were his Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. Even when he was an absolute ace, roughly 2021 when they went to the World Series against the Braves. That's when he got hurt initially for this particular last 2 years of him being out. That year he was the ace because Verlander was on the shelf with Tommy John. Even then he was, you know, a high walk guy. So,
by the way, not to derail you, Chop, but whatever happened with our Houston Astros? Is your calendar like going to burn out? Are all the days gone? Do we lose Houston Astros trivia? Is it retired? Not that the people aren't necessarily claiming for it. Trivia.
You didn't seem too interested in it. No, Dean, what Astros star smacked more homers with Houston, Glenn Davis or Cesar Cedeno? Did we already do that? That sounds familiar.
That's. I mean, Glenn Davis was a. I don't know.
They better not be giving me repeat questions here, man.
Well, there's only so much trivia to be had, and there's 365. They got to pad the list. I thought you pull these on your own, like you don't every single day, like knocking out your calendar.
Sometimes I get behind Dean when it's busy.
Yeah.
Some of these questions. On this date in 1976, Joe Niekro hit the only home run of his career. Joe Niekro, pitcher, Dean, knuckleball.
Yeah, I know.
Can you name the Braves pitcher who gave it up? Oh my gosh.
Was it his brother, Phil?
You got it. That was a layup.
I got it.
Good job. Phil Niekro gave it up.
Wow, I'm retired. I'm retired.
That's got to be some nepotism right there. Like, I'm going to serve you one up now, sir.
It was like the Cal Ripken All-Star home run. They just kind of grooved it for
Oh,
him.
man, I remember that. Yeah.
It's Cal Ripken's last season in Baltimore. Baltimore was hosting it. God, who was the pitcher there? Was it like Chan-Ho Park or somebody? I can't remember who. Somebody grooved him a pitch.
That sounds familiar.
And, yeah, it's the All-Star game. Have a good time. And, celebrate Cal Ripken in his home ballpark. But that's it. I'm never going to top that one. That's how would I know that?
There you go. So McCullers.
Good trivia note too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
McCullers is the walks have always been a problem. He's overcome it a lot of his career, so it doesn't. I don't think that really affects me. You're right, the velocity way down, but he's making up for that by throwing legitimately 6 pitches these days. I mean, 27 Ks over his last 3 starts kind of gets you back to where he's always been a very effective strikeout pitcher. So I don't think any of it's really fluky. It's just a matter of how long can he stay healthy, man? He's always had these setbacks and these issues. Maybe he's over this particular spell of injury, which was a weird thing to happen. But yeah, I mean, he's throwing different pitches now, or different variations of those pitches. So you get the White Sox. Can he go out there and strike out 10? I would actually think he probably does strike out double digits tonight. The problem that would offset that is, will he walk a couple guys and give up a 3-run homer, which kind of brings that down a little bit? Then maybe something else, maybe a couple more walks that gets him out of the game earlier. So there's a lot of avenues for him to fail, but there's also plenty of avenues for him to put up a pretty good total tonight against on a slate where there's not much out there. And on DraftKings specifically, boy, they're giving you such a good price on him, man. That's the other part of it. You're paying $2,000 more for Max Fried, who I like more, but you're paying $2,000 more for him. You're paying $1,500 more for Mackenzie Gore, who has massive strikeout stuff too. But that's an elite offense he's facing. So, yeah, I do like McCullers, man. But in GPPs, I would certainly be under the field on him. That's for sure.
The other whole, I would just say, he's been good, but look at the offenses he's faced: Pittsburgh, Seattle, the Athletics, Texas, Cincinnati, and Cincinnati, got him good. Obviously, Texas, he wasn't horrific. Yeah, but yes. Look at the offense he faces today. Correct. Did the White Sox know just to stand there, and he's going to walk you? Just stand there. He's going to walk you. A lot of his curveballs are don't necessarily hit the zone, but it once upon a time was one of the more devastating pitches in all of baseball. Yeah, I pulled up my rankings at Kirkwood, Dave Potts as well, as far as the value rankings, and like you said, it falls off so fast. You got to rank 8 when we have games of 10 or more. We got to rank 8 pitchers, and I struggled to fill it out. Of course, McCullers, Gore, Frieds, Cease is there. He's kind of cheap, but I don't really love him today. I can see him give him a couple homers to the Dodgers. Griffin Canning is looking kind of chalky. Good ballpark to throw baseballs in. Against the Nats, a team we're not necessarily afraid of after their first couple hitters. Abrams and Wood, the 2 lefties, and beyond that, starts to get pretty dicey. How do you feel about Canning? Is somewhat of a chalky piece. And then Dylan Cease. Grant Holmes is in the mix. Shane Smith is kind of good, but they just really don't want to unleash him. He gets all the righties except Caratini. Caratini, of course, is the lefty. Oh, Melton cracked the lineup too. The prospect is in the 9 hole. So we have 2 lefties now for Houston. I saw somebody talk about Kyle Harrison in chat for San Fran. There's just not a lot. Soriano's a good ground ball guy. Pepio, right? He has his moments. Bassett has his moments, but nothing really jumps out. I saw somebody say Male. I still think he's kind of a fraud this year. That's why I just want to spend up. I'm trying to find a lineup that gets Gore and Fried together, and I think that's going to be different. Spend up to be different. I threw a bunch of names your way, Chop. Cease, Canning, Holmes. Who's got a next in line for you?
So, yeah, after McCullers and Freed was being really two good options. Canning, I've highlighted Canning today on my list. Sure, he's had a nice resurgence this year. I don't think it's necessarily fluky. By the way, you look at the New York Mets, and they have something good going on with their pitching coaching because they've turned a lot of guys around. So I don't think it's necessarily a fluke. And we're in New York, and it is debatable, but one of the best pitching environments. Citi Field is one of the best pitching environments in baseball, so he's got that going for him too. So I definitely like Griffin Canning. Dylan Cease is the one probably going to get a little lost in the mix because nobody wants to take on the Dodgers, and but he's there. He's really good when he's on his game. He can win you a GPP. He's only 8,400, and we're getting a discount on him tonight, I think, because of this matchup maybe. And we're going to get a discount on ownership too. So I think Cease is in play, even though I don't love him. I don't love taking on the Dodgers, but his numbers stand out. They're really good. So you can catch him on a good day, and maybe you can win a GPP with him. So he's definitely in play for me. You mentioned Pepio. I like Pepio tonight. I do think the Roman Anthony addition, like he didn't get a hit last night. I thought he took some really good at-bats, man. So I think the Red Sox lineup is going to be a little scarier moving forward, but Pepio's been really good lately. Boston is without Bregman, and the lineup in general right now is a little bit weaker. Moving forward, it'll be better. Tonight, not so much, I don't think. So I think Pepio is certainly in play. And then, you hit on Mackenzie Gore. Those are the guys right there. Those are 6 guys. That's really all that's all I even have in my player pool. So the other guys, the ones who are fringe that didn't make it, Grant Holmes, solid, but just didn't make it. Shane Smith against the aforementioned Astros, I think that's a possibility. Malley, because of what you said, the numbers are really good this year, but not the best matchup here for him. And there are things, let me see, the Minnesota lineup just came out. It's as expected, so we're good there. But and then Chris Bassett just barely misses the cut against St. Louis. I just don't really need that tonight. Those 6 I mentioned are the guys that's where I'm 2 of those guys will be on my DraftKings, and 1 of those guys will be on my FanDuel.
I'm going to go ahead and drop that second clue for the people. Second clue for Television Tuesday. First one is war. Clue number 2 is light. So get in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel is the only place where you got to get your answers. Tell me what television show I am talking about. Be the first person to do so. Get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders premium football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all the goods, MMA, PGA. Big PGA tournament coming up this week. The Open Chop. Get excited about that. I believe there's a PGA show later on tonight. Say it. What's that, TJ?
U.S. Open.
Oh, as opposed to the Canadian Open that nobody acknowledged last week?
No, the Open is the British Open.
Oh, yes. Correct. I stand corrected. Yes, thank you. U.S. Open. I believe I was looking at this. Maybe TJ can confirm. Did I see Dan Bach is going to be on the show tonight? I think Dan Bach and STL Cards. Is Bach back?
He was last week too.
Okay, I don't watch the golf show every single week. I've been out at
Noto just had a baby, so Dan's been filling in.
Shout out to Noto.
Also have Dylan Wilkerson making his debut tonight.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen him on Scores and Odd Stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, do tune into that show on the YouTube. That's why you subscribe, so you know when that show's going live. And, that's sort of evergreenish, right? Golf doesn't really change until Thursday morning. Chop, do you have any golf takes or no? No golf takes?
Not yet. Not yet. Just focused on baseball and basketball right now. I'll look at some golf tomorrow, but I do need to get some props in. I have some player prop boosts for the PGA this week that I need to take advantage of. So we'll figure it out.
Some guesses coming in. Biggest Loser, Star Trek, Dark Matter, The Flash, The Boys, Highway to Heaven. That's a throwback for sure. George Lopez show. No winners just yet. Get yourself a week free. Be the first person to tell me what TV show I'm talking about, and you're on your way. All right. By the way, we have some extremes. People love the extremes, right? Extreme hitters, umpires. Well, we have an extreme hitters umpire in Coors for Harrison, for Palmquist. Extreme hitters umpire for Bassett and McCullers. Extreme pitchers umpire for Brandon Faught, who needs it. He definitely needs it. And Logan Evans. Chop, I'm sorry to say, it's not Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones being Chop's guess here. TJ is guessing. I guess I didn't tell TJ the answer, which is probably a mistake that can backfire. It is not Top Chef. All right. But now TJ knows the answer. And hopefully, maybe somebody got it. We'll see. Not Third Rock from the Sun or MASH either. We shall continue and power forward. I was looking at, again, we had the rank 8, and just some of the names there are kind of mishmash. Smith, Holmes, Canning, Pepio, Soriano. But it's all just kind of nonsense. Like you said, if you're running 150, maybe you can add some of these guys in here. You said you have 6 guys in your pool. That's basically where I'm at too. Again, I'm trying to spend up. Just hope that we get an optimal game out of Gore. I did mention, his K rate. It's the biggest one on the slate, biggest one by far. I think it's actually the biggest K rate in all of baseball at 35.4% last I checked. Cease at 29.1%. The tricky part is he's taking on the Dodgers, and they're good. We don't have a Dodger lineup just yet, but I imagine we'll get nothing goofy there. Angels just dropped, by the way. Neto, Shanwell, Trout. You see Trout get robbed last night? That was one of the best catches. You didn't see this?
That was Shawnell.
No, I believe that was Trout that hit the baseball.
It was Shanuel.
Huh.
The one where Clark dove over the fence to get it.
Literally took a home. That wasn't even a questionable home run. That was a full-fledged home run he took away.
I believe that was the only at bat Shanuel didn't get a hit too.
Okay,
my bad. Got that one wrong. But yeah, it was incredible.
Dean. Go to one, Dean.
Well, I was mostly
rubbing salt in there. I had Shanwell to homer and at massive odds, and you're rubbing some salt in the wound now.
Oh my God, that's brutal. Yeah, what were the odds on him? Because he doesn't have any power. Not 10-1.
He's
good.
Like 10. Shit, he's good, man. I like.
He's a nice little hitter, but he's not gonna,
he does it, man. He's won me GPPs before. He's good.
Not on his own.
Yeah, I think so, man. He's had some big games for me.
Rest of that lineup, by the way, is Soler's in there. Did I say Ward? O'Hoppe is back. Adele, who's on fire. He was one of the knockers yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, right, Chop? Was he a knocker?
He was a knocker.
Rengifo and Kingery. You said Minnesota's out. Buxton, Larnick, Jeffers, Correa, Wallner, France, Lewis, Castro, and Bader. All right. So no Dodgers just yet. Some of the late night stuff, not surprisingly, no San Diego, no Athletics or Seattle or Arizona. We got a walk-off last night in Arizona with Josh Naylor.
Man, I needed that one to min cash. D love waking up to the min cash because
I had it too.
Grand slam. You thought you lost it all, and then you just better.
What a weird game! It was Arizona 4-0 in the ninth,
and
then Seattle dropped the 4 spot. Was it 8-4? Is that how it finished? I don't know.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Pour one out for whoever had the under of that game because that's a tough beat.
I woke up losing I went to bed losing most of the money that I put into MME last night, and I woke up profiting.
Yeah. Love to see it. I hate to see it when you don't have Naylor. That is the worst. All right. Anything else as far as pitchers, or shall we pivot and talk about today's tiers? We got
Stack City. Let's go, Dean. Stack City.
All right. We know today, I don't know how you celebrated Chop, but big holiday today. Today, of course, is National Egg Roll Day. You guys know this. Yeah. Maybe TJ, let us know in chat how you celebrated National Egg Roll Day. And we were going to do possibly like Chinese food items. So we just ended up just going like appetizers. We went appetizers, kept it simple. We power ranked some appetizers. Let me know in chat what is the best and the worst appetizer. And Now, Chop, you got to sell me in this one because we kind of built this together, and I think it's got a good floor. You know what? Your appetizer is kind of your appetizer is basically Shangwell. It's basically Nolan Shangwell is basically this.
I was going to say it's Max. It's Max Fried.
It's Max Fried. Yeah, it's never going to really disappoint, but it's got a ceiling. It's not going to win the slate for you necessarily, although you claim it has. Maybe it has. And TJ, I don't know, he's got a thought as well, I'm sure. But yeah, best and worst appetizers is how we did today's tiers. Chop, do you want to tell the people what you put at number 1?
I mean, I just told you. I didn't necessarily put it number 1. I told you what my favorite appetizer is. So also
that's how you do it.
Yeah, but I say, I let you have you could have overrid it and put something else at 1. But I'll say this much, Dean. So my number 1, the one that I picked, my favorite thing, because I eat this religiously, was chips and salsa, because you can't go wrong, like you said, with chips. Now, you say there's not much upside. I disagree. But also, there's so much you can vary that up so much. And you can claim this is a different thing, but it could go chips and guac. You could go chips and queso. The chips combo with something is like unbeaten. It's so good.
Nachos.
Nachos are totally different. That would be different than because we're dipping stuff with the chips. Nachos are just whether they're individually dressed or you spread your seasonings all over whatever that is. That's a whole different thing, but. The chips combo, some kind of chips combo. I'll say chips and salsa here. Because I make it here with my bullet blender, for the games and stuff. It's easy recipe.
You make homemade nachos?
Not nachos, it's salsa.
Oh, the salsa. I gotcha.
Yeah, chips and salsa. But also, if you put your chips in the air fryer for about 2-3 minutes, you can get them nice and like they're warmed up to where they're just melting in your mouth. Like there are a lot of different things you can do to it just at home, not even at a restaurant, just right at home. I'll run through like a whole bag of chips on a football weekend, man, when it's cranked up on Saturday, Sunday with like a whole bunch of salsa and queso and stuff. But I love me some chips and salsa or chips and queso or chips and guac, whatever, man. Big fan.
I put wings in 2. I didn't really have a hot take. I'm not like some people just love I think it's fine, but I think it's a solid 2. I think it's a crowd pleaser. Good for a party, for a spread. If you're out there watching the game, very, very shareable. You know exactly whose is whose. Like, nachos, you got to like, you can venture in other people's territory, right? Wings, it's like, okay, if there's, I don't know, 5 of us and there's 10 wings, everybody gets 2 wings. Easy enough. So it's a perfect appetizer. Egg rolls an appetizer? Depending on. It can be, I suppose. And I wanted to celebrate National Egg Roll Day, so we put it right there in the middle. You spoke ill of the bloomin' onion to tell the people why you do not care for the bloomin' onion.
I could, if you like it, fine for you. If I went the rest of my days on Earth and I never had another bloomin' onion, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Like it's not something I want to seek out. Just onion is not all that appealing to me. And then when you just fry the heck out of it with all that batter on top, doesn't make it much better. So I'm just not the bloomin' onion guy, man. If you're going to fry something up, give me a fried cheese stick or something over an onion. Like it's an onion, man.
And also, I feel like diminishing value return. Like that's one, you can have like 1 or 2 pieces. It's like, okay, I'm good. I don't need, it's a lot going on there. I kind of agree with that. I'm indifferent to it. I'll take a piece, but I don't love it as an appetizer either. It's kind of fun too. It's just a fun. It's in theory, and it's also pretty shareable. The chat is getting on us for not having mozzarella sticks there. Looks like Kirkwood.
It was on the horizon, but you only got so many spaces. You only got 2 spaces you could put mozz sticks, 1 or 2, and we had those spaces taken up.
Oh, okay, yeah, I considered it for 2. Yeah, I did consider it for 2. Kirkwood's asking if French onion soup is an appetizer. No, I don't. I mean, appetizer is shareable in principle, right? You don't share French onion soup.
I ordered French onion soup on a date once, and I did not get a second date.
Well, it's certainly not because of your sparkling personality.
Well,
Blame it on the soup.
like why? Can we elaborate on that a little?
She so it ended up being like we weren't compatible. She's still a friend, and she ended up marrying another friend of mine. But it was funny enough. Saskatoon's a small place. Funny enough,
a lot of Eskimo brothers.
She like jokingly blamed the soup afterwards, like, and I was just like sitting there at this like trying to have a conversation, and there's just like cheese falling from my face everywhere, and I'm just like getting this soup everywhere. It was pretty bad. I don't blame her. It was pretty funny. I have no regrets. It was delicious.
Are you a slurper? You big slurper?
No, but like the cheese was just getting everywhere. I have no regrets. It was a really, really tasty French onion soup.
You ordered like the ribs as well, like something super messy. All right. Also on the board, I don't like jalapeno peppers.
Poppers. Oh, you don't pop? I like poppers, man.
It's too hot.
But yeah, I get it.
That's me.
Yeah, I have a food take, and I get a big like a lot of pushback from my family on this.
Okay.
But when we go to like a place that does the ribs, you know, or the messy hot wings or something like that, and this is going to shock some people. So, but hear me out. I like to bring my own food gloves, and I put on my food gloves before I partake in all that. Keep. Not only am I, keeping the germs off the food, but I'm keeping my more than that. I'm keeping my hands clean from all the sauces and everything. I'm preventing a big mess. And my kids get embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie, but it is. I am who I am, man, and I enjoy that. So I don't know. That's just me.
I'm looking like I see like the cafeteria lady kind of food glove. Is that what we're talking about? Is there some kind of fancy like different colors, like the transparent ones?
Yeah, it's transparent. I've been through a lot. I've gone through a lot here. I've tried to dial down as much as I can. So I do have like the see-through gloves to where it kind of blends in a little bit now. I used to have the blue nitrile latex-free gloves, but now we're talking about not necessarily the big baggy gloves, but nice tight fit to them, but they are transparent. And
the kids are like, "Oh no, Dad, not again. The gloves again, really?" They just every time they can't help it. They make a comment.
Yeah, but I find I enjoy my food more when my hands aren't getting all dirty and sticky from everything. Oh, this is
kind of practical, actually. I know people give you a hard time.
This is only when we're in a place where we're eating stuff, when we know we're going to have a dinner that isn't fork and knife. This is stuff you got to pick up and eat with your hands.
Medieval times.
Yeah. Hooters.
Yeah.
I gotta have it when I go to get some ribs from the barbecue place. I mean, I want to pick that thing up with my hands.
It actually, I'm thinking about it more. It actually does make sense. It's not crazy. I know your kids are going to give you the business about it. But that'll be today's poll question. There you go. Do we approve of Chop wearing his food gloves? Okay, that's our board. Let's go ahead. Oh, let's give the third clue. We have no winner just yet for Television Tuesday. War and light to the first two clues. The third clue is uniform. War, light, and uniform. Tell me what television show I'm talking about. Get in that Discord. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. First game we're going to talk about on the board as I scroll to get to my games. It is the Nats and the Mets. By the way, I should have mentioned earlier, weather, not really an issue. Let me go ahead and give a refresh. Ross not going to be on later, but it appears not to be an issue. Yeah, green, yellow in Boston, straight green for the Mets in Washington. Looks like there's no issues out there that are lurking. Of course, weather is fluid and things can change, but as of right now, no concerns. The Nats are in New York, taking on Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning looks like an SP2. That's going to be pretty popular. Mackenzie Gore, probably the best raw points pitcher on the slate, or close to, depending on what projection you're looking at. Of course, the Mets are a tricky offense, at least the front half. The polar bear is out of his mind. Just keeps banging out some homers. There's Soto. There's Lindor. Gore is reverse splitsy, which is worth noting. Wanted to pull up his splits. We didn't really fully dig in there. On the season, yeah, I mean, I guess historically he's reverse splitsy. But, yeah, last year the Ks were 21% versus lefties, 25% versus righties. This year, 42.2% versus lefties, 32.9% versus righties. Man, that is pretty outrageous. And it's also a pretty contact-heavy lineup. But As far as the offenses, Chop, Mets and Washington, where are we throwing them on the board?
Who's pitching for? Who's pitching against Milwaukee today? Oh,
Who's
Grant
pitching?
Holmes. Okay.
Yeah.
Christian Yelich not in the lineup, so.
Oh,
Maybe
that could be enough to like move the needle because
might be.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So these two teams right here are pretty easy for me. I think Mackenzie Gore is really good. All those numbers are really good on him, not just the strikeout rate. And Griffin Canning is having a rebound year. I kind of believe, like, he was always talented. Like, it's not a fluke. He just I think he had bad coaching and everything, and he's kind of. I think this is a real Griffin Canning, not something that's going to get all of a sudden start to get shelled. So I got both these teams in tier 4. Don't really want a piece of either one of them.
All right. 2 teams in tier number 4, TJ. Let's throw the Mets and Washington in Bloomin' Onion. The Rays and the Red Sox. This game really shootout last night. They went extras. Giolito taking on Pepio. Giolito, what a weird career. Like, once upon a time, he was like the worst pitcher in baseball. For a very brief period, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball, or at least pretty good. That happened for a couple of years. I shouldn't say for a brief period. And now maybe he's reverting back to being terrible again. Small sample, he's not been good. I like the lefty power here on the Tampa side. Brandon Lau, especially on FanDuel, the FanDuel price looks awesome. He's been banging around righties all season long this season. And we talk about that Red Sox lineup now with Roman Anthony, 4K on DK, a lot of youth with Campbell and Mayer, surrounded by Devers and Duran. Pepio, Giolito, 9 total. One of the bigger numbers on the board. Where do you want to throw the Rays and the Sox?
Yeah, Tampa Bay against Giolito. Kind of watching him. He certainly hasn't returned to that form he once had, and I don't think he ever will. I'm putting Tampa in tier 2. I think they can take advantage of this matchup. I actually believe Pepio's solid, even though these teams are have the same projected implied team total or really similar. Man, they just don't look the same to me. I think Pepio's a solid pitcher who can get it done today. I'm putting Boston in tier 4, but certainly if somebody wanted to rank them a tier higher, wouldn't hate that either. But I'm going to put them in tier 4 because I have more interest in Pepio today than the average person out there.
You got Boston and Bloomin' Onion. Do hit that like button, by the way. I believe every 50 likes, we're going to be getting a Spidey bomb. Spidey is working today. I believe TJ is hosting later on as far as crunch time. He's going to be hosting with Dave Potts, with Chris Kirkwood, who's hanging out there in the bullpen. Our guy Butho in the chat is guessing in YouTube. Of course, those. Oh, look at that. Brandon Lau is the Spidey bomb. How about that? Right on cue. It is not Stargate SG1 and Chop. I have 2 things of bad news. It's not the boys, and we also have a winner. We do have a winner in the Discord channel. Just got to scroll up. I'm not for certain I did see it. Yeah, I'll isolate that in just a second. There it is. Shout out to D Pike, who took down the winner, and we'll reveal that momentarily as we scoot along and throw some more teams in some tiers. Well, it's Atlanta and Milwaukee. You mentioned that Milwaukee lineup just came out. Christian Yelich's not in it. Terang, Churio, Contreras, Bowers, Rhys Hoskins, Frelick, Collins, Durbin, Joey Ortiz taking on the Braves. Acuna, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Harris, Albies, Murphy, White, and Allen. Still waiting for the first stolen base from Acuna. I don't think he's even attempted a stolen base, which is kind of a bummer. Hopefully that turns around at some point. Priester versus Holmes. Atlanta, the slight favorite here. What side are you on? How do we feel about those offenses?
Acuna might be a little gun shy on his knee, so I don't know. Maybe just relax. Being this many games back, maybe he doesn't need to be stealing bases this year. Maybe he needs to just pump the brakes on that. But I even before the Yelich news that he wasn't in the lineup, I still have Milwaukee in tier 4. So I'm certainly not. I'm not very high on them today. So Milwaukee's a tier 4 team. Atlanta, I do kind of like. So I'm putting Atlanta in tier 2. I think they can take advantage of a guy with a high walk rate and a low strikeout rate. That's usually not a good combination. And so Atlanta's starting to swing the bat a little bit better now. So I got them in tier 2.
Yeah, the one skill Priester has shown is the ability to get ground balls. But yeah, like you said, 11.1% as far as the walks. That's too high. 15.4% as far as the Ks. That is too low. All right, moving along. Texas taking on Minnesota. Tyler Mahle versus Woods Richardson. I think these lineups are pretty standard, giving them a look. Yeah, 9 total. Minnesota, the slight favorite. We did kind of mention Mahle earlier. He's got a 2 ERA in the year, and good for him. But the Sierra's 4.48. The BABIP's 2.35. The homer and the fly ball is 4%. All of that suggests he's been crazy lucky. Where do you have Minnesota and Texas?
Minnesota, Texas is Mahle versus Woods Richardson. I've got both these teams to me are middle of the pack. Don't care about them very much. Mahle, I really can't tell you if he's like we've been saying. Don't really know when the other shoe is going to drop, but I don't think he's this good. But then again, Minnesota's offense not really all that imposing. So tier 3 for me, and Texas is a tier 3 because I like the matchup. I think that there's a lot you can do against Simeon, Woods, Richardson, but Texas lineup low key, just not even low key. They just stink this year. So they just haven't been good, and I don't know if they're going to turn it around anytime soon. So tier 3 because kind of don't know what to do with either one of these teams.
Right on cue. TJ put on the screen that this is a fun lineup to have minis of Texas. Seager's been in and out of the lineup. He's not been good for what it's worth when he's been out there because the ISO's been pretty rough against righties at 130.
Semien finally hitting the ball a little bit better, and he's hitting cleanup, and Jake Berger's hitting 5. And so I really like that as like a super cheap mini stack today.
My under the radar, like off the board homer today in the survey was Jake Berger. So I do like the Jake Berger call. And Woods
not
Richardson.
Cal Raleigh? Not Ronald Acuna? Aaron Judge? Come on, bro.
I mean, saying Kyle Raleigh's going to homer is like saying the sun's going to rise, right? Woods Richardson kind of neutral. I think at some point he's been kind of reverse splitsy as well. So, and Berger's been pretty good against righties as well this season. 181 as far as the ISO. So I like him as a cheapie. Yeah, Semien's been better. He's been better, but he had to be because he was like the worst player in baseball at the first month of the season. But he has been better of late. Langford kind of up and down as well too. But theoretically, it is weird. Texas there's just some offenses that are disappointing, and Texas has certainly been one of them. But Woods Richardson, not a pitcher I'm necessarily afraid of. The fourth clue, by the way, we're just going to play it out for fun, is Marble for Television Tuesday. And if you didn't win, you can just go ahead and buy yourself some RG Premium, get in the Discord channel. I was going to say get in the Discord channel and get your guesses in. Well, at this point, you already know the answer is probably. But get yourself some RG Premium in the description. The description here on YouTube. Baseball. The baseball rate is what it is. And everything else, you get everything else for free. If you want to just throw that in, you can get baseball a la carte and pay that. By all means, go for it. But you can get baseball, football, basketball, hockey, NBA, PGA, MMA, all the goods, all the bells, all the whistles. You get the optimizer, you get the projections, you get the articles, Dave's article, you get the expert survey, you get the rankings. There's too much stuff to mention. SimLabs, you can run SimLabs, all the goods. 6 months, you get 35% off. You want to commit to 6 months as well. If you're in the streets of like player props, things of that sort, you're on Underdog, you're on Prize Picks, you like player props at your local sports book. We have a package for you as well. Do check out that in the description. I believe it's half off the first month for the props and pick'em package. All right. Yankees and Royals. Next game up here. It's Noah Cameron, Max Fried. I kind of alluded to it earlier, Chop. Noah Cameron, 0.85 ERA in the season, right? 0.85. Homer to fly ball, 0.57. The BABIP at 148. The left on base, 99.1%. Outrageous. League average is like, I don't know, 70, 71, 72. Homer to fly ball, 5.1%. There's just no, and this is not like a huge prospect. I think he was the 5th prospect in Kansas City's organization coming into the season. Like, he's not a complete nobody, but this is just, it has to stop at some point. And we said that this ballpark's good for throwing baseballs, especially subduing homers in case the wind is blowing out a little bit and it's kind of hot and the Yankees have some power. Maybe tonight's the night. and I don't think they're really going to get played because they're just expensive. Yeah, if you're deciding you're gonna buy Judge, you can, I guess. It's tough. It's tough to get to them. Even like Jazz is expensive. A lot of their pieces are pricey. And then we have Freed on the other side. You're like, if you want to stack against Freed, by all means, have a good time. But Yankees, Royals, where are we throwing these teams, Chopper?
Well, KC is tier 5 pretty easily. Max Fried's good. 13 starts this year. One time has he given up more than 2 earned runs in a game. One time all year long.
You can't trust them though, Chop. Not a trustworthy guy.
Not.
You can't trust them. What happened that one time? They don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, he's just really good. He's solid. I mean, it got me digging into a whole thing that doesn't even matter about how he's been for years now. He's just really good. So that's not something I'm going to pick on, especially not in a ballpark that suppresses home runs and with an offense that is struggling to bring up guys from the minor leagues to try to light some sort of fuse here in them. They're just not that good. And Bobby Witt's not the same. He's not having the same type of year he had last year. It's solid, but it's not like what you kind of expected from a up-and-coming superstar. So that's a tier 5. The Yankees, I'm with you, Dean. I'm looking through all those surface numbers, and the Yankees are a tier 1 for me. This is not enough ownership. They're not getting enough ownership because of Coors Field and some of the other stuff. They're not getting enough ownership for my liking. This guy, Noah Cameron, like you just said, I was going to hit on some of those points. He's due for a little regression here. So, yeah, and Dean, it's not Squid Games, is it?
It is. It is Squid Game.
Okay.
But you want to? Should I explain it now? Which is the one that kind of threw you off? Oh, did Butthole get it right?
Yeah, Butthole got it right in chat.
Butto's pretty well. I don't know if maybe now you think Butto possibly looked at the
Discord channel? You're right. I don't know. I'm not accusing nobody.
Butthole nailed it. I'm confident Butthole nailed it because 1, he doesn't have Discord. 2,
well, he probably does, but he just doesn't tell you what his name is.
Two of the winners in the last week got it because Butthole guessed it first in YouTube, and they just guessed it.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it
in Discord.
He wants to stay off the radar of Discord. He doesn't want to give it. I don't know what kind of information you got to give.
Maybe
a regular RG account.
Maybe he's in Discord and he's just using a username that maybe. And I don't want to throw no accusations around. Maybe Butthole is Jeffy Lube.
I don't know. Maybe I couldn't say.
You can't give your real name when you're trolling in bat all day long. When you're trolling Cardi in the bat channel all day long. Can't give your real name.
Is that what's going on in the bat channel? Is that what's happening over there?
Jeffy Lube is in there like clockwork every night.
Does Cardi give him like a does he retort? Or no? Is Cardi?
Well, I think we're past retort now. It's been like this for years.
Because I've seen like Cardi on Twitter. He'll go back and forth if people disagree with him and keep going. He doesn't stop. So he's happy to he'll defend his position, which I respect. I was gonna say maybe it's worth checking out to see some of the highlights that are going on there, or lowlights, depending on how you want to phrase that. But you could have just broke some news here. Kirkwood's his mind's blown there in chat. Although you could have just made that up. You possibly made that up, and it's a false accusation. Toronto, St. Louis. You got something, TJ?
I forgot I was still on screen.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody. Glad I wasn't thinking.
Toronto and the Cardinals. McCullers are slurping on that French onion soup. Chris Bassett taking on McCullers. It's 7.5 as far as the total. Toronto without Vlad. This is one of those uneventful games. I think Barger is a really good cash game play. I don't think I'm going to fully stack Toronto. If I get a little mini, he's probably in there. I don't know if I want to one-off Barger, but he's got just a good price, and he's been pretty good. And Michaelis is not missing any bats, especially from the left side. So I think he's a really good cash game player, if nothing else. How do you have Toronto and St. Louis?
Yeah, Chris Bassett is not bad, so I don't want to stack against him. And then you throw in to date this year, a pretty good bullpen for Toronto. St. Louis is a tier 4 for me. I don't need to go there tonight. Against Miles McCullers and an average bullpen, I could see Toronto being a tier 3 in general. There are some guys like you like a certain number of guys there better than others. There's a nice mini stack there, but I'm not going to go overboard with it. But yeah, they're a tier 3 for me.
We got 5 games to go. Crunch time coming in about 15 minutes or so. TJ will be jumping on and hosting. You got Kirkwood hanging out in the wings. Of course, Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, jumping on as well. I'm seeing just one team right now in chips and salsa. Barely seeing the Yankees up there. Most popular tier as of right now is the Bloomin' Onion, the 4-hole. Some of the better offenses are on layaway, I think. Let's see. Well, maybe not this game. Chicago and Houston, 7.5 to total. Shane Smith taking on Lance McCullers. Chicago barely a 3 total. We talked, extensively in the start of the show as far as McCullers being one of the most popular pitchers on the slate, if not the most popular. I'm seeing him at 20% on FanDuel, most popular guy presumptively. As far as pitchers, 32% on DK. That's the way we have it right now. Canning at 20, Cease at 20, Gore at 16, Holmes at 16. Holmes might creep up a little bit with the absence of Yelich. Probably should give that a refresh.
Nah, people don't worry about that. People aren't into that. Like they don't really.
They should be.
Well, you should be a lot of things, but I don't think people really look at that, and like very few, not enough to move the ownership needle.
Your Astros taking on Chicago. Do we like either offense, or are they also going to be hanging out in the Outback Steakhouse?
Well, the thing about the White Sox, I would love to, if this was a different offense, I would love to attack the ownership on McCullers a little bit in GPPs. But just because McCullers is going to be so highly owned is the only reason I'm going to put Chicago in tier 4. Like otherwise, they would have been a tier 5. There's just a bad offense outside of maybe 2 guys. I just don't want to stack that. For Houston, I'm putting them in tier 3. I think Shane Smith is okay. He's league average, maybe league average, maybe slightly better. I don't know. It's a bad bullpen though. Some of the guys in that lineup are coming around, that's for sure. But they're not overly impressive in that lineup until they get Jordan back, and then I think they really go on a nice offensive run. So I'm just going to put them in tier 3 for now.
Giants are in Colorado. They have a 6.6 team total. There's no Matt Chapman. They're taking on the lefty here in Palmquist. They're starting Lee, Adames, Ramos, Flores, Encarnacion, Dom Smith, Schmidt, Bailey, and Fitzgerald. I was trying to figure like Daniel Johnson might be a pinch hitter. Just like back, their bench is back. Kisner stinks. Just trying to figure out who might come in. Like who would come in for Dom Smith. It's not a long list of players. So who's who of it's not spectacular. They must. Oh, you know what? Yaz. Yaz will join the game at some point, probably. He's the one that might most likely to pinch hit for somebody. I don't know who that somebody is necessarily, but and also Harrison taking on the Rockies. Rockies have a respectable 4.4 total. Goodman's pretty cheap. Doyle, Keston Hiura is a flat out punt. We thought earlier in the day Ritter was going to get a good lineup spot, so he was popping a little bit. Now he's in the 8-hole. It's hard to get excited about that. Beck is leading off there for the Rockies. Where do you want to throw the Giants and Colorado?
Here you go, offensive game. Now, what's worrisome here is that the both team totals have come down quite a bit from earlier. So I don't know what's going on there because I'm still seeing the weather as a positive for the hitters in this game. But I'm gonna still play it out the way I thought, which is Colorado a tier 2. They don't usually get there, but when they get a 4.4 team total, and it was actually 4.7 a few hours ago. When they get that big, that's Vegas telling you something there. It's possible runs on the board right there for Colorado. I'm putting them in tier 2. I do like some of these matchups that they have tonight, like Brennan Doyle, some other guys. San Fran is a clear tier 1. I know heavy ownership, but I'm not really. I can use the ownership to move things down slightly or use it as tiebreakers or such. But when you get a 6.6 team total, you're in this kind of a matchup with a pitcher who's been this bad and a bullpen who's arguably the worst in baseball backing him up. they're going to score runs, and it's just a matter of can you land on the right guys in this stack. But some stack here from the Giants will be competitive in GPPs.
All right, Chop, 3 more games. Let's knock out that last clue. This would have really got people home. I think I was kind of spoon-feeding it with clue number 5. Calamari was the 5th clue, Chop. Calamari was the 5th clue. Just got to give it to the people. War, light, uniform, marble, and calamari. I didn't want any bonus clues, basically.
Yeah, that would have done it. But yeah, I'll give a butthole, if I hurt your feelings by calling you maybe a possible Jeffy Lube. I didn't know. My apologies, man. I'm just trying to piece things together here because I find it hard to believe a guy of your knowledge doesn't have Discord. Usually, the smart ones get in there, man, but they don't let their real names be known. So my bad, man.
If you're not aware, most Discord channels are free. Just need a regular RG account. There are some that are premium. I'm sure the bat with Cardi, if you want to battle back and forth with Cardi, you got to pay for that. That's got to be a premium channel, I presume. But the live stream chat channel, that is a free channel. Let's let's explain to the people. War, light, uniform, marble, calamari, Squid Games. There was, of course, several games they played on the show. One of which, Chop, was Tug of War. The second game, another game they played, was red light, green light, right? There was, red light, green light, stop, go. So that was the second clue, war and light. Uniform, they're all wearing uniforms. They also played marbles. Marbles was the 4th clue, and of course, calamari and squid. I wanted to tie in the whole, appetizer theme, right? I don't know where calamari is on the board for you, Chop. I'm in the middle. I don't have a hot calamari take. It's fine. I would rarely order it, but I mean, if it's on the table, I'll nibble. You a calamari guy?
I'm not gonna order it at a restaurant. No.
Yeah.
Do I think it's disgusting? No. I used to work in a restaurant and we served calamari, so I actually tried it a lot. Just doesn't really stand out to me. So not gonna. If somebody likes it, more power to them. But it's not something I'm gonna sit down and order at a restaurant.
Athletics and the Angels. Let's see. We have a 9 total here. Soriano, all ground balls, taking on Mitch Spence. No Athletics lineup just yet. Angels are out. Basically the same thing they had yesterday, I think, with Ohapi in there. Joe Adell, one of the knockers yesterday. We have knockers on layaway as well. They're coming shortly after we knock out these last 3 games. Angels, Athletics, 9 total. Angels are the favorite. One of the bigger totals on the board. Where are we throwing these teams?
Yeah, let's see here. I got there's a possibility. Soriano's a solid pitcher. Doesn't give up a lot of fly balls. Therefore, his home run rates are really low. It's tough to get to him in that regard, even though he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, and he will walk some guys, but the home runs aren't there. He's a quality guy with good control. He's got good control. So Oakland's a tier 3 for me. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in them tonight. I really like Oakland when they play at home, not in LA. Although the weather tonight, there might be a marine layer tonight. I don't know how that's going to play out. But the LA Angels to me are a tier 2. I do want some of these pieces of this lineup, which I think is starting to look a lot better now. So they're a tier 2 for me. I like the way it's starting to be built there in LA.
I can't talk about the marine layer. I think that's mostly, like when the game starts in part, like what time of day it is. It has a lot to do with it. Well, obviously the weather affects it. And it's also a shadow ballpark too. I don't think we have to worry about shadows tonight. But as far as weather edge, Chop, it's right. It could not be more neutral. 696 games, a massive sample size because, in Anaheim, it's 73 often. 73, slight wind blowing out, negative 0.5 homers, 1.9% bump and runs, completely neutral out there. Dodgers lineup did drop. There's no Will Smith. It's Dalton Rushing doing the catching today. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Muncy, Pajes, Conforto, Edman taking on Dylan Cease. No Padres just yet. Where do you have the Dodgers and San Diego?
Dodgers, you got me. You're rushing me here, Dean. You're rushing me. All right. The Dodgers to me, okay, Dylan, like that's a good lineup. But Dylan Cease is a solid pitcher, and there's a lot of good offenses. Look at the tier 2 for me tonight. Like, I'm filled up in there, so I don't really like the Dodgers that much. I'm going to put them in tier 4. I just don't want to stack them. I have a lot of stacks I like, so putting them in tier 4. Now, San Diego.
Oh, I should mention, Chop, not to cut you off, but Lou Trevino.
You did.
Well, this is vital to what you're saying in some ways. Lou Trevino is the opener, looks like, for the Dodgers. And then Sauer, I guess, is the presumed long man. We don't know that for certain. The Dodgers have no pitchers. It's the weirdest thing. They have some, but they're all hurt. Trevino is opening, and then Sauer is the presumed long man.
And because of that, I had San Diego in tier 3. I don't really like – I don't like it when I have to, like, deal with bullpens and start openers, and then how long is the next guy going to be? Are you going to get the good piece of the bullpen in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th? Like, and it is a really good bullpen out there for LA. So, and by the way, Dean, they better get their starters back pretty soon or they're going to be cooked in like the first round of the playoffs, because it's a good bullpen, but man, are they overworking those guys. So, and that won't last a full year. Just off topic, but because of all that kind of stuff, I don't like going against that. If you just told me Sauer was our starter and, if he can go 6, he's going to go 6, I'd put him. I might move San Diego up a bit, but because of the uncertainty, they're a tier 3 team for me.
Luke's was scratched for Toronto. We just got the new lineup. I'm trying to see who's the player that's in that wasn't in before. I think it is Straw. Miles Straw was not in the lineup, and he's got no punch at all in his bat. But there you go. If you had Luke's, you can do better than Straw, pretty sure. Last game, we got those the knockers on layaway. We have the BEP suggestion on layaway. Of course, crunch time coming in soon. An hour until lock. 7:10. So we're a little bit of the later lock than usual. Of course, there's 11 games on the slate. We have an Arizona lineup, no Seattle just yet. Logan Evans taking on Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt has been brutal of late. Big dumper, Kyle Rowley. We don't line up just yet, but we presume he's going to be in there. He's been one of not best catchers, but just best hitters. That's it. Full stop. End of the conversation. As far as hitting baseballs, you got to pay for him though. He's up to $6K, which is seems pricey in theory, but not when he hits bangs out a couple homers. Arizona's got a 5 total against Logan Evans. Where we throw on the D-backs and the Mariners. Roof closed, by the way.
Yeah. So I also want to, before I even rank these teams, Dean, I want to say I'm feeling like maybe you're the Lance McCullers of clue givers, because you can be very erratic, very wild sometimes. And also, like, after a little brief absence, you kind of came back and you changed your style up.
Back-to-back days with great clues.
Yeah, you changed your style.
Oh.
So what I was thinking, the pitches I was thinking I was getting based on tape from previous seasons, that's not what I'm getting right now. I'm getting like clues that actually mean something with clues 1, 2, and 3.
I got a zag. When you think I'm zigging, I got a zag.
I don't know if I like that, because I had a
There's no book on me. There's no book. Throw that book out.
Yeah, you're the McCullers, man. You're the McCullers of clue givers. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Seattle's a tier 2 for me. 42.5% hard hit rate for over 65 innings this year for Fat. Not good. I don't know what happened. He was supposed to be pretty good after that first stint in the majors, but he hadn't done it. So that's a tier 2. Arizona's a tier 1. I'm going to keep going back to Zona at home. Naylor bailed us out last night with a grand slam. Don't matter how you get there. As long as you get there, he did it. I expect him to put up something similar to some major crooked numbers with some home runs going out there. So I'm going tier 1 for Arizona.
Going to recap the board here in a second. Did want to say, speaking of McCullers, you mentioned hard hit rate. McCullers percentile. What percentile is he in as far as giving up hard hits? The worst. 1. He's in the 1 percentile, meaning he's like the worst. It's a small sample, right? And he's striking a lot of people out, and that doesn't affect. If you're striking people out, that doesn't really affect your rates. But he's been hit hard when people are actually hitting the ball against him. Okay, going to recap the board. We did power rank appetizers. Chop wanted chips and salsa up top. We got the Yankees, the Giants, and the D-backs in that category. Tier 2 is wings. That's the Rays, the Braves, the Rockies, the Angels, and the Mariners. Right in the middle, we're celebrating National Egg Roll Day. It's Texas, the Twins, Toronto, Houston, The Athletics from parts unknown in San Diego. Bloomin' Onion in the 4-hole. That's the Mets, Washington, Boston, Milwaukee, St. Louis, the White Sox, the Dodgers. All the way at the bottom, just one team, just one lovely team there hanging out with the jalapeno poppers. It is the Kansas City Royals. Chop, we teased it. We told the people it's coming. They want the knockers. They want the BVP suggestion of the day as we get our second Spidey Bomb. It's Addison Barger. What do you got, Chop?
All right, BVP suggestion of the day, Dean, is none other than Joe Adell. Going back to the guy keeps on making some money for us. He's having some big games. So I'm going Joe Adell with the BVP suggestion of the day.
Yeah, so, what? Oh, wow. That I did not see that coming, Chopper. Okay.
What didn't you see, Dean?
Well, he has no home runs. That's like the one thing he does.
We're not worried about you put too much stock into just that particular number. There's a lot of variance in that particular stat. There's a lot going on here with Joe Adell. He's, this is a good pitcher for him. Good matchup.
He's striking out less this year, too. 4 for 9 historically against Spence. Couple singles, couple doubles. No strikeouts, though. I do like seeing that. A walk and no strikeouts.
A lot going on there, Dean. A lot going on. Now, for the what everybody's here for is the knockers, all right? Adell was a knocker last night, and he came through. There's some low-hanging fruit out there, Dean. Low-hanging fruit. Some say low-hanging knockers. I'm saying there was some low-hanging fruit tonight because everybody, and I mean who doesn't like a pair of giant knockers? Like I'm just telling you, Dean.
San Francisco Giants.
Yes, giant knockers.
Yeah.
Yes, giant knockers. Everybody likes that, but that'd be too obvious. That'd be too obvious because they're in Coors Field, a huge team total. People would get on me like certain people got on TJ back in the day when he was giving home run calls and the guy, and it was like Vlad Guerrero during a hot streak. Like, what are we getting? I'm not saying that. So I'm not going that route. I'm changing it up. Curveball on you, Dean. I think Giolito gets rocked a little bit tonight. So I'm going Aranda, Caminero right there in the middle of that Tampa order. 3-4.
I wanted to ask about Brandon Lau because I don't know what your model says about this. Brandon Lau, 0 for 12 against Giolito with 5 strikeouts.
It's not just that, Dean.
What can we do with that?
It's not just that. I got my eyes on Brandon Lau now because he's getting pinch hit for late in games. He's as good as he is. If there's a tough lefty in there and it's a leverage situation, they'll pinch hit for him now. I don't like that. So I don't think Lau will be in my model anytime soon for knockers or anything. That's a rough spot for them.
So Kirkwood was hanging out in chat, but I guess he forgot to join the show. Should be jumping to the bullpen momentarily. He's been hanging out with us the entire time, as far as I can tell, as he stepped away for a second. I know Dave Potts is good to go. Of course, TJ ready to hold things down as well. We should be getting Kirkwood any minute here. Chop, you're making one lineup. You make one lineup, one main lineup. What's the one player, the one stack that maybe your lineup's not set just yet? Who are you afraid of not having? Like you want them, but just not working as far as salary. It's not working as far as ownership, whatever you're building. Who you're most afraid of not having on your team?
Well, I haven't built, so I couldn't answer that to a T. But I would say, that I'm going. Oh man, it's going to be hard for me. Single entry, it's smaller fields. It's going to be hard for me not to have at least 4 giants. I just hope I have the one giant that go because one of them will go off, and I don't know who it's going to be, but I just hope. I hope I have the guy that's going to do it, but right now. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know who. Maybe Adames. Somebody's going to get left out. Obviously, I can't stack the whole lineup, and I can't even stack all the really good hitters. So maybe it's Adames that gets left out. Whoever I leave out is probably going to go off. But right now, that name is Adames. So I'm a little bit worried about that.
I'm just concerned. Like you mentioned, single entry stuff, and I'm really aware of obviously, large field. People have their 150 lineups and they get all over the place, but. Yeah, you make one lineup. It's like, well, I want to have Flores and I want to have Adames and I want to stack the Giants. And that's where I just say, well, screw it. I don't think I'm going to stack the Giants. And if they beat me, so be it. But what if they don't? What if they put up 4 runs and have 1 homer? Then, you got to get the team right still.
Well,
you can't just say
You said you want two good pitchers, the two expensive pitchers. So
Yeah.
there's no way you're going too expensive and a bunch of giants. So yeah, you got to make that's choices you got to make. Dean. But
That's
I mean,
the value, I think.
hey, that's not it's not a bad slate to do that though, considering the other offenses that are out there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good pivot offenses. Of course, Dave Potts, Kirkwood, they're going to help you out. TJ as well. Let's do it. They're fully assembled. It's crunch time right now. There is Dave and Kirkwood. I don't. If we get a live shot of these two, possibly, or just a graphic, of them hanging out with Violent J and Shaggy Two Dope. There we go. TJ, Kirkwood, you remember those days? Yes.
Yeah. What a night that was.
Yeah. You want to give an anecdote or two, maybe, so we can believe that
We've
this
done
story
it so many times, Dean. Like,
and you never give me one. I want to see if your story's straight.
My story straight? What? Why would you? Is that what you do to everyone that you're supposedly talk to? You want to get their story straight? Dave, that's the man right here. Dave can confirm it. I can confirm it.
Yeah, we don't need to give you detail. Like, you kind of got to be there for that kind of thing. Like, talking about it does not get the point across at all. Maybe one day we can all have that kind of go to that together, and you see what's going on. But it was truly glorious.
What happens at the gathering of the Juggalos stays. Gathering. I guess that's how that goes down, I suppose.
Butthole Jenkins bringing up a great point. This isn't actually 4 people in this photo. This is Cheese and Kirkwood before and after the makeup application.
Oh,
Right.
Yes, that would be amazing. All right. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I knew Cheese was. I didn't realize Kirkwood was so musically inclined. But shout out to you for your secret musical abilities. TJ, anything for myself and Chop before we step aside and get out of here and make way for you guys got 50 minutes. You got plenty of time to knock out this 11 gamer. Anything you want anything pertinent to ask myself or Chop, or we're good? We're good to go.
No, get the hell out of here. I did have a fun little anecdote that I assume you were referencing the actual Squid Game and not the reality show Squid Game when you were making your TV Tuesday. But I did actually have a friend who made it near the end of the reality show version on Netflix.
Oh wow, yeah, that's was it $6 million or $5? It was like $4 million. It was a lot of money they put in that.
Yeah, it was an absolute ton. I don't remember what it was, but it was a ton.
I'm guessing this friend did not win.
He did not. He did not. He made it to the last challenge though.
But he's still alive.
Yes, he did not actually die. He fell into a pit of doom, and he just like dropped. But I believe it was in a foam pit.
Alrighty. Myself and Chop, we're going to step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time. You got 50 minutes. Dave Potts, Kirkwood, TJ. TJ, take it away.
All right, let's do it. We got 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. Time for MLB Crunch Time. I'm your host today, TJ Zwarych, joined first up by Kirkdiese, the king of the Juggalo Nation himself. How you doing? Chris?
Little technical difficulties over here. My son decided to eat my AirPods, so I had to pull pieces of it out of his mouth, and
they are delicious.
Yeah, they're so I'm down a set of AirPods right now, but other than that, I've been doing just fine.
And joining us as well, we got CheeseIsGood. Dave Potts, how you doing?
I am doing good. It's a fine enough slate. Better than the nonsense of last night. At least you can find a reason to like something tonight. I always like that. So it's good. And I had some AirPods for lunch, and we'll have ice cream after. So it's all good.
Do you air fry them or?
Yeah, I like you want them crispy. Like they're pretty crispy to start with, but you want to batter them up a little bit.
Yeah. Last night was crazy. I didn't go to sleep until like 2 a.m. because I bet the Arizona money line and the run line. And did you see they gave up 4 runs in the bottom? They're up 4-0 with 2 outs into the last batter, and the pitcher gets hurt. The closer gets hurt. And then they bring some guy in, and he gives up 4 runs. And I was just in so much pain and agony. But then Naylor hit the grand slam in the 10th inning to cover for the run line. So that was
wild. Yeah, I was long asleep when all that happened. So I woke up and saw that box score and was curious what had gone down out there.
I am a mead last night, and I went to sleep losing money and woke up winning money. It was pretty nice.
Naylor. It was just crazy to literally give up 4 runs when it was like a 1-1 count, the last batter, to a nobody on base, and just nuts. Anyways, I like the slate. I think I'm probably a little too chalky tonight, but we'll talk about it.
Smash the like button if you are watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We will drop some Spidey bombs every 50 likes. We already got 2 scrolling there at the bottom. Brandon Lau plus 425. Addison Barger plus 400. Next one coming at 150 likes. So keep clicking that like button. Cheese, why don't you give us a little overview of what we can expect on this slate?
Yeah, it's so easy to build what should be the chalk lineup because of, especially on DK, because of the salaries of McCullers and Cease, and then the Giants. Like that's such an obvious chalk build. Cease, McCullers, of course, Field, and then there's a few obvious kind of one-offs elsewhere. There's kind of a small pitching pool, I think. Like you can goof around with several mid-tier to borderline cheap pitchers, but I've got a pretty tight pool. And really, even with offense, even though I didn't end up all that overweight on San Francisco, I still ended up with, I don't know, 6 or 7 teams mostly, and then just a pretty small handful of individual plays at every position. So while there's a lot to like, I can also kind of narrow down while still really liking everything I have. So I just think it's a great slate, which means I'm not going to win anything, but I'm fine with that.
All right, Kirkwood, let's start with you. Let's talk some pitchers.
All right. I'm going to tell you the chalk right off the bat. Well, first of all, we got Lance McCullers, who's probably has a lot of question marks that I'm overlooking. The fact that he had 2 really good starts back to back. Now, this is a guy who's down. He doesn't throw very hard. He's all about junk, and he's coming back from Tommy John, I think, and everything. But he racked up 2 nice strikeout games in a row, and basically he gets the matchup with the White Sox, which is really safe, and also has some Ks there. But so he's the guy that I like the best probably, and I'm playing him. But those 2 starts I wouldn't be surprised if he gets shelled and those 2 starts were fluky. But I also think that he's probably going to have a good start. So it's that I'm playing him, and I'm just going to see what happens. But I get it if you don't want to, especially at chalk. And then the other chalk is Dylan Cease, who I'm playing. Basically, he has great metrics, and he always has a high ceiling. And whenever he has a bat, it's not really about matchup with him. It's all about with him and his mechanics and his mental. And he's an ace. He's a certified ace, and he's 8.4K on a night where we need money for expensive bats. The problem is that he's playing the Dodgers here, which is a tough matchup. And if you like BVP, Shohei's got some BVP against him, I think Chop was saying. But he's got the highest swinging strike rate on the slate tonight, which is impressive, even higher than Gore. He's got the repertoire. He's fully capable of mowing down this lineup. And also, I'm starting to look around the industry to see who's getting spit out as optimal. And he is at some places, but also there's other places that are spitting out Griffin Canning over him. So I'm thinking that he's going to be the first. Everyone's going to say to themselves, "Oh, I don't want Chalk Cease against the Dodgers," and I think he's going to come in lower than what we're expecting. Now, if he was the most optimal on every play, coming out optimal, then there'd just be no way around it. People love to just jam in the optimal pitchers, but because when they max enter, they're going to get the most of them. But yeah, those are my 2 guys. We can always go up if you have the funds to Mackenzie Gore's got the highest strikeout rate. Also not the greatest matchup for him as well. it's the Mets, and they're tough. But you can also go the other side of that game and Griffin Canning, who had a couple of bad starts, but has been really good this season, and then had a really great start against the Dodgers the other night, and he's only 7,400. Max Fried is probably your safest against the Royals. It's just an average matchup. Not really a ton of strikeouts, but he's a guy that can get some, when he's rolling, and you got to pay for it, 10.5, but I think he brings the most safety. And then other than that, I don't really care for anyone else. Maybe Grant Holmes, and I think he gets a boost now because Yelich is not in the lineup. Is that correct?
Yelich is not in the lineup, no.
Yeah. So I'd give him a little boost. So I don't mind that. And I don't mind Pepio against my Red Sox here. That lineup is tough. They've been scoring a lot of runs lately, but there's definitely a lot of strikeouts there. And someone with the good stuff could certainly mow him down. And I could make a case for Shane Smith, but he's too expensive. And that's pretty much about it. Maybe Kyle Harrison because he's facing the Rockies, but that's it.
All right. Cheese, what do you think? Can you get away from Dylan Cease and Lance McCullers tonight, or are you going to be going to those guys as well?
You can definitely get away from him. I want to start with kind of the same thing Kirk was saying. Like, I don't really think Cease is super chalky. Like, I don't think you need to fade Cease because of ownership. It's just, yes, people build around projections, but people still put some limit on something, and everyone's going to see, oh, it's the Dodgers, and put some kind of cap on Cease. That's what I think. So, like, I think McCullers is the more concerning chalk, and McCullers is not as good a pitcher as Cease. Of course, the matchup is way better. But Dylan Cease, he's had some bad starts and the ERA is high, but he's good. Lance McCullers, we have no idea if he's good, if he's terrible, if he's amazing, if he's the worst pitcher ever. He's somewhere in between the greatest thing of all time and worst pitcher ever, and we have no idea which will it be tonight. I think he'll be okay tonight, and I like that the strikeouts have been there, but I'm not over on McCullers chalk. I'm under on. I'm also under on Cease. Like, I just think, even though I don't think Cease is chalk, I do think those are the two highest owned pitchers. And if I can get Mackenzie Gore at any ownership discount, and maybe a big one, I just want Mackenzie Gore. I love what he's been doing. He's been very matchup proof. One of the best pitchers in the league, period. So I'm going to spend up to be different with him. I've got some Max Fried, but I do prefer Gore a little cheaper. The guy that I ended up really liking is a weird way to say it. The guy I'm playing a lot of that I didn't really think I was going to play a lot of is Shane Smith. Just as a way to not play McCullers and Cease chalk. Shane Smith against righties is really good. And the Astros are a bunch of righties. And so I'm playing Shane Smith. I don't feel like you need to play Shane Smith. That's just me letting you know what I'm doing. I think Grant Holmes, Ryan Pepio, Chris Bassett, and of course Griffin Canning are all very viable, all very fairly priced. I think Canning will be the chalky one among those, which is another reason I'm playing Shane Smith, or why I might do Pepio or Bassett instead of him. Like, the salary difference is not really all that relevant. I think Canning is fine. Like, he looks much better this year. He can strike out lefties, which is important against Washington. I think he's fine. But far and away, not even kind of close. Gore is my highest owned pitcher on both sites. I'm even a little more on my strange out of nowhere Shane Smith call on FanDuel, where he's cheaper. You can play Grant Holmes there as well. And that's it. I'm not playing the cheap nonsense just because you don't really need the salary. I mean, you can use it if you want to play Judge Notani in the same lineup, which is always a fine idea. But like Harrison and Giolito and Jose Soriano, I didn't get to any of that stuff because I just don't need that much salary.
Really like the Shane Smith call. That's somebody I'm getting to as well. Grant Holmes, another guy that I'm high on today without Yelich in that lineup. And I'm even going to try a little Kyle Harrison against that Rockies team. Even though I don't feel very good about it. Cheese, let's stick with you. Who do you like for stacks today?
So I mean, obviously the Giants. And I kind of now think when you take Chapman out of that lineup, just like passing the smell test from just any random person just glancing at the lineup, I think it lowers the ownership because I think it just doesn't look like as great of a lineup anymore. And it's not, but I actually kind of like that it essentially gets rid of all the pinch hit risk. They only have one lefty on the bench right now. It's Daniel Johnson. I'm not that worried about. I mean, maybe he comes in for Encarnacion or Schmidt, but I think they're more safe now as far as pinch hit risk. They're a little more affordable. So yeah, of course, play the Giants. I love the Rockies side of that game. I don't think you need to full stack them, but you can if you're doing Gore and Fried. I love the Diamondbacks. I love the Angels. I kind of like the A's and the Mariners and the Rays. I know that's a lot of teams, but that's also now the pretty much all of my pool is what I mentioned there.
Mariners, Rays, and Diamondbacks are my three favorites as well. Kirkdiese, how about you? Who are you playing for stacks?
I mean, I love the double dip tonight. I know Cheese would love to hear that. I love this in course because it builds itself almost. The weather you got to talk about too. So it's like 80 plus degrees there. There's a 10-mile-per-hour wind blowing straight out to center. And Palmquist is just gotten shelled so far. It hasn't shown anything that like he's ready to be a good pitcher. And plus he's pitching in core. So, I mean, the numbers against him are ridiculous. And then Harrison is kind of a question mark too. Hasn't been as good as we thought he was going to be coming into the season. I just think that's a really good spot. So I'm all about double dipping. And then my second favorite is the Angels. And then who do I like? I like the Yankees. If you're gonna need home run upside on this slate, so I like them. And then I'm actually a little bit lower on the Diamondbacks.
And let me jump in and say, Dean mentioned it, Chad. For some reason, I forgot Yastrzemski for the Giants. So
he's not in the lineup,
right? So yeah. As far as pinch hit risk for Encarnacion, for some reason I forgot Yaz exists. So leave the pinch hit risk for Girard and Encarnacion.
All right, let's start going position by position here, starting at the catcher spot. Kirkdiese, start us off.
All right. Pretty easy for me. I like Hunter Goodman, 4,200 with the platoon. These guys still do have power in cores. I told you I like that game with the wind blowing out. Cal Raleigh, obviously the big dumper. I mean, the guy is just ridiculous and has been all season long. But 6K is pricey. Logan O'Hoppe is probably the next, and then you can go with for cheap if you want. He's also going to be chalky. The Patrick Bailey batting 8th for the Giants, and if you want to get a little different, I mean, there's plenty of other good bats. Like Narvaez for Boston batting cleanup. Yainer Diaz batting cleanup. They're only 37 and 3,600. William Contreras 4,400. I mean, catcher is really strong tonight. So I wouldn't object to going down to anybody with home run upside. Sure, play him.
Doing my best, Kevin Roth. Geez, big dumpers on the slate. We're playing big dumper, right?
You are correct, sir. Yeah, I love him tonight. Of course, he's $6,000 as he absolutely should be. But for me, and Kirk named all the guys, I think it's a very simple position. Like, there's plenty of options. You can spread out and play a bunch of guys, but basically spend up for Raleigh, or play Goodman or O'Hoppe in the mid tier, or just go with the cheap Patrick Bailey. And that's kind of the whole position. I think you're overthinking it to talk about anyone else. Doesn't mean you can't play Kirk or Contreras or Jeffers or Yainer Diaz. You can play whoever you want. But to me, those four very much stand out, and you have all different price ranges with that group.
All right, take us first.
So I guess Wilmer Flores is the top play. I'm not really crazy about him outside of stacks. I'm playing him some, but as a one-off, I would rather play Olsen or Naylor or Aranda. I do like some Ohtani on DraftKings. And then my favorite cheap guy is Rowdy Tellez. We don't have that lineup yet, I don't think. I'm assuming he will be in there. Casey Schmidt is first base only on DraftKings, which I'd rather him be available somewhere else, but I don't mind him or Kyle Farmer as another cheap guy if you don't want to play too much Rowdy. And that's most of it.
All right, take us to first base. Kirkwood? Or sorry, your thoughts on first base, Kirkwood?
Yeah, so I like Wilmer, obviously. I like Shohei, obviously, if you can afford him. I like Paul Goldschmidt against a lefty. Although he, we don't know yet what he really is. He hasn't given up much homers at all, much power at all. But I'll take my chances with Goldschmidt or some of the Yankees tonight in that spot. I like that. I like what Dave said about Matt Olson. Really like him. And then there's Josh Naylor or Jake Berger if I need to save some money. And if don't want to use Tellez like Dave just said.
All right, take us to second.
All right, second base. Fitzgerald's batting ninth, but does bring the home run upside for the Giants. It cores Brandon Lau is reasonably priced 4,800 for Boston against Giolito, who's been pretty shaky so far. I still kind of believe in him a little bit, but man, I'll side with Brandon Lau in this case. Ketel Marte, rough night last night, but run it back again tonight. Should be good. But my favorite play is the revenge homer, obviously, that I'm going for with Estrada batting cleanup for the Rockies.
All right, Cheese, who do you like second?
Yeah, it's exciting to find out if Estrada is in fact a vengeful man or not.
Yeah,
we will find out. He seems like he would be. I don't know him that well personally, but yes. So yeah, Fitzgerald, I like. Estrada, and Farmer and Keston Hiura. You got three Rockies cheap at second base. I don't mind any of them. So on DK, I'm not playing much Marte or Lau because I would rather spend up at other positions and go with one of those cheap Coors Field second baseman. I also like Nolan Gorman as a cheap guy, so that really is a go cheap position for me. FanDuel, I like Lau because he's more affordable there, along with the same cheap guys if you want to do it.
All right, take us to third.
Third is pretty much always pretty good now. It's kind of back to what it was supposed to be. Again, you've got Flores on DraftKings. I think out of the expensive guys, like none of them are some sort of obvious, oh, this is the guy, out of like Machado and Devers and Suarez and Riley, maybe Caminero up there. I think they're all very playable. But I like Addison Barger as much as any of them, and considerably cheaper. So he's my highest owned guy. I think out of those expensive ones, Flores first, Suarez second, and then the others I just have tossed in little bits here and there.
Kirkdiese, who do you like at third?
Third, it's Wilmer or Caminero is just rakes and hits homers all the time. So he's in play. Austin Riley is right up there too. I like the Berger call. Berger? I don't know. Barger. Devers, you can obviously play. You can play Eugenio Suarez again, who was disappointing last night up with the bases loaded. But Machado's been hot. I don't think he's going to get much play. And then I'm fine going down to Ryan McMahon. He's been terrible this season, but he's okay lefty throughout his career. But how long will Harrison be in this game pitching? I don't know. But I like the whole double dip thing, and really easy to make it work with McMahon in there. And then my last, and I'm just home run hunting, Isaac Paredes against Shane Smith. Smith, I've always said Smith is their best pitcher all year, at least from like a stuff standpoint. So I do like that Dave's playing him, and I did think about playing him, but you can take guys against him as well.
All right, shortstop.
All right, short.
Or Cheese, did you do third yet?
I did.
Okay, yeah, shortstop, Kirkdiese.
Okay, Adames, 4,400, also has been pretty bad this season, but is cheap. Also hasn't hit left-handed pitching well, which is surprising. But 4,400, batting second in cores, have to like it for me at least. Neto, obviously, he's kind of like, he's 5,200, which is crazy, but he's worth every penny, especially in this matchup. And then I'll pass on Corey Seager. I've watched a lot of him. I just don't think he's having good at bats yet. And so I'm a little worried about him in general. But other than that, Bo Bichette, and you can always play Bobby Witt, even though it's against Fried, but nobody's going to play him. And maybe Pena batting first.
All right, Cheese, who do you like at short? Kind of a weird position compared to usual.
Yeah, it really is. I have the same thought. Bobby Witt has a tough matchup. Lindor has a tough matchup. Seager hasn't looked great. Neto is probably my favorite of them, but he's expensive. And then it's the Coors Field guys. I'm playing a lot of Neto on FanDuel, where he's the same price basically as the Giants guys. And then on DK, even though he got moved down in the lineup, I'm playing Ryan Ritter because it's weird, but for whatever reason, shortstop is not the position you want to spend on today. So just give me the cheap guy who I think Ritter, as Rockies go, is probably a decent hitter. Being a decent hitter as a Rocky is different than being just a decent hitter in general, but at 2,500, I don't particularly care. Got a little Jorge Polanco and a little Trevor Story. And that's about it.
All right. Take us to the outfield.
So Ramos is certainly the top Giants bat. And he's up there with Judge, Ohtani, and Carroll, I think, as the top outfielders overall. On the whole slate, for me, Cal Raleigh and then Judge, Ohtani, and Carroll are the four guys you want to go out of your way to spend up for anywhere it's possible. I go Judge and then Carroll and then Ohtani, but you could put those guys in any order you want, and then Ramos would be the next guy in. After that, I'm looking at mostly Rockies and Angels. I love the Rockies on DK, where Doyle and Beck are very affordable. On FanDuel, I love Trout, where he's cheaper. Taylor Ward, I like on both sites. Got a little bit of West Sacramento in there with Butler and Soderstrom. For cheap, I like Joe Adell. I think that's enough to mention. Like, those are kind of the highlights. There's always a bazillion outfielders, but those are my favorites. All
right, Kirkdiese, who do you like in the outfield?
Yeah, Trout is silly cheap on FanDuel, 3,200. So I like that. Ramos has the same odds per the bat to homer tonight as Aaron Judge has, which is pretty crazy. So I like Ramos. Lee has good numbers against lefties. All of these San Francisco guys. I don't care if Encarnacion is going to get pinch hit for at some point. May very well homer right off the bat. Corbin Carroll, like all the good bats. Everyone knows them. Judge, Trout, Acuna, Tatis, Julio Rodriguez. Like, every one of these guys is a good play tonight. The Rockies guys are cheaper. Like Jordan Beck, 4,200 brings a lot of upside. I just think that Seattle's going to go off tonight against Fott. So I like a Rosarina. I like Julio. And then the Angels, Taylor Ward, 4,300. It's Soler back in the lineup?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I'll probably waste a few dollars on him tonight as well.
All right. Home run calls times, and then we will start getting into some questions. I, of course, will be taking questions from the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. Then I will be going to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, all we ask is you smash that like button, and as long as we get 200 likes, I will drop a fourth Spidey Bomb. The first three are already scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We have Brandon Lau, plus 425, Addison Barger, plus 400. Ketel Marte, for some reason, has these wild odds over at Bet365, plus 525. Second day in a row, despite them being one of the top stacks, him being in a great spot, he's over plus 500. Fourth one at 200 likes. Keep hitting that like button. Cheese, favorite part of the show, who's hitting a home run?
All right, so we'll go 3 levels here. The expensive and obvious, Cal Raleigh. Mid-tier and only sort of obvious, we'll go with Hunter Goodman. And then cheaper, I would have gone Barger, but since Spidey got him, we will go with Nolan Gorman.
Kind of crazy to me that he's still, even, I get it's a big slate, but still projecting for single-digit ownership when they refuse to raise his price on DraftKings feels kind of wild to me. Kirkdiese, who's in home run?
High-end Trout. In the mid-tier, he had Dave had mine, but I'll say I like the Angels in general. I'll say 2 Angels. So I'll say Taylor Ward. But my guy for revenge for the low end is for 2,800 to getting a home run from Estrada. Pretty much guaranteed if he is a vengeful person. And that's what I'm betting on, that he's a vengeful person.
Kirkdiese, I don't know if you have the bat page up in front of you, but who, if not, who would just be your, who would you think would have the biggest pinch hit risk today for San Francisco?
I would think it would be Encarnacion.
Yeah, it seems like that's got to be Yastrzemski at some point.
Yeah, let me pull it up here. San Francisco pinch hit.
While you look that up, we do have a late lock time today. It's not till 7:10, so we will stay all the way up until lock if we have the questions. However, we don't want to just be sitting here twiddling our thumbs either. So make sure you get your lineups in, then get your questions in, because we still got lots of time left here.
Yeah, I had to redo it because there was some guys that weren't in the lineup. So it's Schmidt, I think it is the highest. Yep, Schmidt had the highest, 23%, Encarnacion at 14%, Tyler Fitzgerald at 7%.
Nowhere near as high for Encarnacion as I actually thought that would be there. Cheese, what do you think about Max Muncy for the Athletics? Max Muncy as a cheap punt today.
I mean, he's fine. It's just that we have all the punts in the Coors Field game, and I would just rather play them. And I like Nolan Gorman as well. So I'm not anti Max Muncy as a punt. I just have several other punts in front of him.
All right. Kirkdiese, Brandon Lau and Rowdy Tellez, or Ward and Williamson?
No, the first.
All right. Going over to the YouTube chat, DK Cash, Cheese, Aranda Goldschmidt, or Naylor?
In cash, I would go Naylor there. But they're all very close.
Kirkdiese, are we sure Brandon Pfaadt is all of a sudden just awful? He had been really good at home this year up until that last start versus Washington.
Yeah, but his strikeouts have been down. His no, we're not sure he's awful, but I think it's not a bad spot for Seattle.
John Brockmeyer asking a question that I do really like in chat, and it is, what players would you put in the only in stacks group? For me, that's almost everyone. They're like, basically, if I don't think you are a power hitter who is going to hit a home run today, then they get my only in stacks type situation for me. And so it's usually just cheap one-offs and or expensive one-offs that I don't click that for. I click it for almost everybody when I'm MMEing in Lineup HQ. Let me see if I can hold on here. Let me screen share my Lineup HQ here. You'll see my exposures, but that's okay. So never do I click it for pitchers unless maybe it's a weather game and I would only want to play it when I'm also stacking that team. But as you can see, I have only in stack clicked here except for Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Cal Raleigh, Ronald Acuna, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Mike Trout, Fernando Tatis, Brandon Lau, Manny Machado, Hunter Goodman, Josh Naylor, Max Muncy, Andres Jimenez, because he's nice and cheap at second, Jake Berger, Alejandro Kirk, Addison Barger, Michael Harris. And like, so as you can see, like once we get down lower, it's like 1 out of every like 20 players. And I'm just realizing now that I wasn't actually showing that on the screen. Sorry, everybody. So you can't see it, but you could hear it. I only put players not only in stacks if I think they are likely to be hitting a home run today. Cheese, I know you don't use lineup HQ that way. You hand build, but what do you think of like?
I would almost tell you, I so much agree with you. I would almost say put every single player on the whole slate only in stacks, and then carefully uncheck the ones you wanted. Like, yeah, I'm totally with you. Like the vast majority of players should be only in stacks.
DK Cash pairing, Kirkdiese. I saw that you answered it in chat, but still, for the people, who would be your pairing for DK Cash?
Cease and McCullers.
And then Cheese on FanDuel, where you can only choose one for cash. Who would be your pitcher over there?
So my pitcher would be Mackenzie Gore. I think the more correct answer is Dylan Cease with that discount. So Cease, but I would play Mackenzie Gore. Take that how you want.
All right, DK Cash, Kirkdiese, Hunter Goodman, and Willie Adames, or Cal Raleigh and Ritter for the Rockies.
I think for cash, you go with the double cores, Goodman and Adames.
Sean Smith or Grant Holmes for FanDuel tournament, Cheese?
Yeah, very close. I played a little more Smith, but they're the same price. Holmes realistically has more like best case scenario upside. So that's another one where I think the best correct answer there is Holmes, but I can tell you I'm playing more Smith.
Yeah, he's like always 100 pitches. The problem is he wastes so many damn pitches.
Yeah, like if it all just goes right, he's got a very high ceiling. But yeah, he's got that problem where Shane Smith in 85 pitches probably goes as far as him.
Kirkdiese, thoughts on Walker and T. Hernandez? What Walker would we be talking about today?
Christian Walker?
Christian, I guess. What do you think about Christian Walker and Teoscar Hernandez?
Both of them hit bombs, so they can always be played. But, I mean, those are deep GPP plays. Walker's been bad.
Let's see what else we got here. Favorite 3 stacks for DK GPPs, Cheese?
Chalky Giants, Rockies, Angels.
All right. What are your thoughts on a Blue Jays stack today, Kirkdiese?
I don't mind it. They're like right in the next tier. They've been hitting much better. I think it's only a matter of time before Vlad starts hitting some homers. I mean, he has to at some point. But
not in the lineup today.
Oh, he isn't?
No.
Got
the day off.
And I would probably take it easy with them.
Marcus Semien or Thairo Estrada for DK GPP, Cheese?
When in doubt, play the guy in course.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with revenge.
Yeah. Well, if we count the revenge factor, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Without that, if Estrada turns out not to be vengeful, then it's close. But still, it's Estrada because he's in course.
After some of the things someone was trying to convince me of in chat today, I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't make jokes like that because people actually think they are serious and take it as face value with no sarcasm whatsoever. What do you think about a Boston stack today, Kirkdiese? A lot of people bringing up in chat how we didn't even really mention them in the stacks. What do you think about your Red Sox?
Nice dew point, not hot enough. And I really don't like the lineup that much. So I'd rather take Tampa.
All right, DKGPP, last spot, large field cheese. Tyler Molly or Dylan Cease?
Dylan Cease.
Is it crazy to go Gore and Freed for MME, Kirkdiese?
No, not at all. If you can find the value bets.
I love those questions where it's like, am I crazy to do this? And it's like
The two
a very
best
like
pitchers.
common, like normal thing to do. FanDuel GPP cheese, or I think I might have asked this one already, but if not, who cares? Brandon Lau and Rowdy Tellez or Taylor Ward and Williamson cheese?
The first one.
Encarnacion and a Rosarena or Tellez and Jung Ho Lee, DK Cash, Kirkdiese?
Who was the first two? Encarnacion and who?
Rosarena.
Yeah, I'll go option 2.
Estrada, Semien, or Max Muncy one-offing at second base, cheese.
Estrada.
We know cheese like Shane Smith. Kirkdiese, would you go Shane Smith or Pepio?
I'd go Shane Smith.
Cheese, if you were playing 150 lineups, would you have a Royal stack?
I'd probably have 2 or 3. I mean, I really don't like it. But in 150, I mean, you should absolutely have a couple.
Yeah, I have 125 lineups, but 0 Royals. If I had those 25 more,
Yeah,
that's when
that
I
would be
might
where the
get
one
those
comes in.
Royals.
Do you have one like do you have a Bobby Witt thrown in somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I never
would be
X'd it out
fine
of
to
the
not.
pool, but I X'd out the rest of the team.
Yeah, I would be fine to not stack at all and just have a Witt here and there. Maybe you throw a Sal Perez in the catcher somewhere.
Wow. I'm going to try to make up for my DJ LeMahieu home run bet that I made that one because it's Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel, so I get the 50% bonus. And I'm going with the Revenge Estrada plus 680.
So what'd you get it up to with the bonus?
Oh, I'm logging in right now to do it.
Should be a nice one there. What do you think about Devers today in tournaments, cheese?
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I like he's in that. There's this big pool of third basemen that are all like the same to me. Devers, Suarez, Riley, Machado, Caminero, and Flores really too. So yes, I like Devers, but I don't like him better than any of those other guys. Like they're all just a mishmash.
Are you okay with Brenton Doyle's in a Rocky stack, Kirkdiese, in a 3-man Rocky stack?
Yeah.
DK single entry cheese, Ryan Ritter and Andrew Benintendi, or Joe Adell and Nick Allen, or alternatively, should I rebuild?
I appreciate the third part of the answer because yes, like, I mean, out of those two,
Neither of those like match.
yeah,
up into, like,
I don't even
stack
know.
at
I
all.
don't even know what to
That's why,
say.
like,
Rebuild has
Yeah.
got to be the answer.
I guess Ritter and Benintendi, but like absolutely rebuild. Like in single entry,
Yeah.
you still be stacking. Cash is
Yeah,
the
and
only
you should
scenario
have-
where you're not worried about a stack. And
Those
so-
guys should not be your one-offs.
Yeah.
And even if you're not stacking, those guys shouldn't be your one-offs. So I think you rebuild that.
DK Cash, Kirkdiese, Patrick Bailey, and Ramos, or Goodman and Encarnacion.
Bailey and Ramos.
Yeah, agreed on that one. Let's take a
And
peek back at the YouTube chat.
It pays 10-1. It's plus 1,020.
There we go. Plus 1,000, plus 1020. Get your bets in for Tyro Estrada. If it happens, Kirkdiese is making some revenge money tonight. Jim Parrish wants to know, Cheese, what do you think about Pepio and Canning for a GPP pairing on DraftKings?
Definitely good with Canning. I mean, Pepio is fine. I'm not playing any of them, but like he's totally as fine as all the other guys right in that price range. So I wouldn't talk you out of it.
I am just making like completely aware that I am expecting to lose money tonight in this MME build. Like I am fully thinking the most, like by far the most likely scenario is that I'm losing money tonight. But I think in my GPPs, I'm just going to not play Cease, McCullers, Canning, or the Giants. That's what I'm doing in my 150 set and just getting all my favorite combos other than the 4 chalkiest places on the slates. Butho Jenkins wants to know, Kirkdiese, is Thairo Estrada the Kirk Diggler dong of the night?
Yes, official.
The Kirk Diggler dong
I
of the
sent you the
night.
slip if no one believes me.
Jacob Wilson has just been scratched, so new lineup for the Athletics: Butler, Rooker, Soderstrom, Kurtz, Muncy, Arias, Wins, Schumann, and Clark. So that lineup gets real bad real fast in the second half of it now, especially without Wilson. I will say, though, I think was Kurtz already in the lineup, or was he out before
He
that?
was. He just got moved up here.
I really like that lineup spot for Kurtz. That makes him a very interesting salary-saving one-off option for me. What do you think, Cheese?
Yeah, like I've got some Butler, Soderstrom, Kurtz mini stacks already, and I wouldn't be opposed to putting some more Kurtz in somewhere.
Yeah, that is absolutely something I'm going to be doing right now as well. Let's get some. I didn't have Booker. I didn't have. I only like Max Muncy was originally the only athletic guy I had in my pool, but now that we have like a full cheap front half of the lineup, I like those guys a little bit better than I did before, and I want to make sure I get Nick Kurtz in there. Also, all right, let's see if we got any questions here. Kirkdiese, would you consider Soriano now without Jacob Wilson?
No, he's not very good.
A lot better real life than DFS.
Terrible command. Limited pitches. He's not. I don't think he's very good at all. So no, I wouldn't. That doesn't move the needle. It's got to be like
All
facing
right.
the Rockies on the road, and I'd play him.
That is it. Oh no, one more question. Cheese, what do you think about a 3-man White Sox mini stack today?
Yeah, it's fine. They're so cheap, and like we've said, like who knows if Lance McCullers is good or if he just falls apart again. I think it's fine. Like it's pretty deep, but at some point, yeah, you can play some White Sox.
All right, we are running low on questions. What are your thoughts on Chris Bassett today, Kirkdiese?
He can be pretty good. St. Louis is certainly a hit or miss, and if all of his pitches are working, it's like with him, it's like his curveball. When his curveball is working, he's a really strong, good pitcher, but it doesn't show up a lot. So I think he's worth a play tonight against St. Louis.
Bassett actually coming in as my highest owned GPP pitcher today with Smith and Grant Holmes right behind him. I like Bassett a lot against St. Louis. With no Nootbaar really bumps up Bassett for me today because Nootbaar is their best left-handed hitter. Bassett's really, really good against righties. Only sucks against lefties. They only got 4 lefties in that lineup, and Donovan, Burleson, Gorman, sure, they can hit some home runs, but they're not that good either. So I really like the spot for Bassett today. What do you think about Kyle?
BVP? He didn't give you the BVP on Gorman?
Has Gorman taken Bassett deep a few times?
In the only two times he's faced him, both times.
There you go. So you can give up 2 more solo home runs to Gorman, but those will be the only runs he gives up. So he's going to be all good. What do you think about Kyle Harrison for GPPs tonight, Cheese?
I do not have any. I fully understand why you would. It is the Rockies. I don't need cheap pitching. The salary is not that hard to come by. So I don't have a single pitcher under 7K because I just don't need it.
Cheese, how many lineups would you need to play before you played a Carson Palmquist?
Again, going back to you don't need salary. I would need more than 150 before I had Palmquist.
Flores and McCullers or Estrada and Fried? GPPs doesn't say the site, Kirkdiese.
Estrada and who?
Fried.
Yeah, do that for GPPs. Why not?
Yeah, I like that side quite a bit there as well. DK Cash, Cheese, Gore and McMahon or Cease and Devers?
In cash, that would be Cease Devers.
All right. Oh, as soon as I say, all right, we are done for questions, we always pop in a new one, just like right there. But that was on DK for Kirkdiese's. We did answer that question already. The Flores McCullers versus Estrada and Fried. That was Estrada and Fried. Going back to Discord, we got nothing. 3 minutes left to lock. Get your lineups in. Cheese, if you don't mind, give us a quick, these are my top pitchers, these are my top stacks recap, and then let's get out of here.
Yeah, I'm way over on Mackenzie Gore. I understand McCullers chalk and Cease somewhat chalk. I'm personally under on them, and I'm playing, surprisingly to myself, more Shane Smith. I'm also fine with the Chris Bassett and Griffin Canning sort of tier. Bats, I do like Giants chalk, but I'm also playing a lot of Rockies, a lot of Angels, a fair amount of Diamondbacks, Rays, and top of the A's lineup with Mariners power.
Kirkdiese, where would you rank an Atlanta Braves stack amongst the top stacks today?
I have them right outside the top 5 for me. So it'd be 6th or 7th. But I want to leave with my final thoughts here. Mm-hmm. Run. Don't walk. Run to get your Dinger Tuesday coupon from FanDuel. 50%, profit boost. And then put it on Estrada.
There you go.
Over 10 to 1 odds. If you throw $50, get your nice little 500 payout. He's revengeful. It's guaranteed. If he is vengeful, if he's vengeful, it's guaranteed. So we'll see.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. That'll do it. We will be back in 10 minutes for the PGA show, PGA Drive for Show, DFS for Dough. Not only do we got the wonderful STL Cards hosting, we got Dylan Wilkerson making his show debut, and we have the boss man, Dan Bach, joining us as well for that one. 3-man booth for the U.S. Open Major Championship. Great prize pools on the sites. Make sure you tune in, and then we will be back for not 1 but 2 MLB slates tomorrow. We'll have the early slate in the morning. We'll have the main slate in the afternoon as well. One last question before we get out of here. Cheese, what are your thoughts on or 2 questions, actually. Cheese, what are your thoughts on the Astros?
I don't like him at all.
Ryan McMahon or Addison Barger as a one-off, Kirkdiese?
Probably Barger.
That'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Smash that like button on your way out. We will see you again tomorrow. Peace.